Hey everybody, it's Neil from WineExpedition.com. Up in Napa, beautiful sunny day, wearing my flip-flops. I called up Kevin Murphy from Murphy Vineyards and said I was going to be in town. He said, hey, pop in by the vine, so here we are. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. So we're amongst rows and rows of Cabernet.
That's right.
And this is one of the vineyard properties that you and your father manage.
That's right. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. That's sort of probably the best way to introduce the Murphy Vineyard story, right?
Right. Well, he got his degree originally from Davis in fermentation science. You know, basically winemaking, you used to call it. Before they started calling it a winemaking degree. And, you know, Davis, and then graduated, but started working in vineyards and various winemaking jobs. And I think he enjoyed the outdoor atmosphere a little bit better, you know.
He was farming grapes.
Farming grapes, yeah. He's a born farmer, I think, and that's how I, you know, got into it as well. Is just I enjoy being outside.
Sure.
You know, working with the grapes and in the dirt, running tractors and whatnot. So he started it in the 70s, and you know, started working in vineyards in the 70s, and then '87 started a vineyard management company, Ag Tech Services, and then '95 he figured that it'd be a good idea to try making some wine because he has this vast array of knowledge, you know. Put it all to use. And
did you help out with that decision of knowledge? You kind of...
Well, I was pretty young in '95. You know, I was more interested in, you know, getting to drive the tractor when I got to when I was brought to work with him. But
right.
Not so much interested in the wines yet. But yeah. So '95 was the first vintage. Just a couple of barrels of Cabernet from Mount Veeder, and so since then we've done various wines from all over the place. We're kind of sticking with Pope Valley now is where we're getting the fruit from. Well, in 1987 he started the vineyard management company. Ag Tech Services is the name of the company.
And vineyard management, that's what you're doing here. This is Cabernet Sauvignon, and you came here to check it out and see how things are going.
That's right. We had the guys out here earlier today doing what they call suckering. Is they're ripping off the excess growth from the vines, you know, to make sure we get everything in the right, all the growth in the right area. This is kind of this was converted from Merlot a couple years ago, where they did a couple of they grafted a Cabernet bud onto a Merlot vine.
Wow.
And then you start making Cabernet. So.
And you're getting rid of the excess growth because you want to make sure the berries are getting sun and getting what they need and not being blocked from excess leaves and stuff that you don't need.
Right. Kind of a big popular thing growing grapes these days is vertical shoot position with the cordon. So you basically train the vines up in a vertical. All the shoots are vertical, straight up.
Okay. We'll
move these wires down and wrap the vines up so they're nice and neatly tucked in. This is a movable wire system, so it's you know, it's just part of one of the many different ways you can train the grapes.
Once again, reminded of the science involved in winemaking. One of the themes I'm sort of seeing on this trip is that, you know, the winemaker's having to divide his brain, left brain, right brain. I mean, all the numbers and the weather and the soil pH levels and training the vines in order to get the grapes to grow the best they can to produce the best possible fruit. And then once you get into the wine room, into the under the crush pad, now all of a sudden your artist, the other side of your brain comes into play because now you're using your instincts and your soul to decide, okay, do we need to add a little bit more Merlot to this or a little bit, you know? So that sort of dichotomy amazes me. But here again in your vineyard management business, your job is to go out and make sure that these vines are properly growing and ready to bear some great fruit.
That's right. Yeah.
So vineyard management, your dad started the company, and then at what point did you decide, hey, I want to make some wine on my own?
Well, 1995 was the first vintage. We just started with a couple of barrels of Cabernet.
Nice. From
Mount Veeder that we were from a vineyard we were managing up there, and then from there it's just kind of grown up over the years. We're producing total about 1,000 cases a year now.
Wow.
We have a varietal Cab Franc, and then we also have a Meritage blended with Cabernet.
A Meritage? Do you have some of that today?
I do have.
Let's try it.
All right.
Let's walk over here.
So I got some of this Meritage stashed under the vine, neatly placed in the shade for us to taste.
Very convenient.
Isn't it?
I like when the wine is stashed neatly in the shade.
Glass for you.
Thank you, sir. Glasses look familiar.
Struggling with the cord. Have you hold mine?
Absolutely. Now, I know that you mentioned that the '95 was the first vintage for.
That's right, for the Cabernet 5, and then that's kind of been our forte is the Napa Valley Cabernet. Over the years, we've continued to make it continue to make Napa Valley Cabernet every year, and then we started when in '04 was the first vintage of Sierra Foothills wines.
Okay.
And they're an artist series actually. My dad took a watercoloring class so we could learn how to paint his own label. So we have an artist 3 wines, artist series, Syrah, a red blend of Syrah and Cab Franc, and then the varietal Cab Franc too.
Mm-hmm. And this Meritage, is this the first release of this?
This, yes, is 2005. We bottled it last year. Spent quite some time. It was 5-barrel production. 2 of the barrels were brand new French Marchive, center of France, medium toast oak barrels. The nice really shows in the wine. Yeah, 2005 was the first vintage of the Meritage. It's 60% Cabernet Franc from the Sierra Foothills and 40% Cabernet Sauvignon from the Napa Valley.
Now let's talk about that. The grapes are from 2 different appellations, 2 different regions. So how does that work on the label?
Well, the TTB, or the laws and whatnot are difficult. You can't call. There's 2 different appellations on the in the wine. You can't call it a Napa Valley. You can't call it a certain percentages you can. We have on the label California, which which will be, I think, maybe difficult to market. I don't know. California may have a negative connotation, but I think it's a great wine, and I think hopefully it does well. It's yet to be released. We'll be releasing it sometime soon, within the next week or so. It'll be online, ready to buy, but it's going to be about $45 a bottle. I think it's a really good price for the.
I feel like I'm smelling the Cab Franc on the nose. It's got a nice light berry nose. What do you get when you taste it?
Well, I get a lot of oak. It's an elegant wine.
The fruit is very light, very elegant. It's not a dark fruit at all. It's very light, easy drinking.
Yeah. So we have the Cab Franc, and it's a lighter grape, especially when it's grown in a warmer area like the Sierra Foothills. It's a really warm growing season, and the 2 of them come together to make a really nice, elegant, drinkable wine. It's kind of our winemaking styles, drinkable. Just
open a bottle and have a glass.
Exactly.
In the middle of the vineyards.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
It's a daily occurrence.
Well, Kevin, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.